Hey guys, welcome to Mr. H Makes. This week we're going to be looking at cel shaders and how to produce different types of looks for your 3D projects. We're going to look at both iClone and Unreal and how we can achieve this result and what the different tools offer. So first off, in iClone we have the Toon Shader, and you can adjust the edge width and the edge intensity, basically how thick the outline is and how sharp and detailed, or kind of like the stroke, I suppose. Now we see the silhouette edge is currently black, but if you change it to the texture color, that takes on the color of the model, which produces a more subtle effect. Not so subtle as if you put the color as red, so your whole outline becomes very vivid. Now the shading is controlled by these sliders here, and the further apart they obviously give you more degrees of light and dark that affect the model. With this approach, lighting becomes very important. So this quick example I've done doesn't really do justice to what you can actually achieve in iClone, which is what this chap does. Just Art Animation Studios. I recommend you go check him out because he gives a very good tutorial on how to achieve this type of look, and I'll leave the link below. Going back to my example, normal threshold dictates what kind of details in your model actually can be affected by the Toon Shader. If you put that up more, you'll get a flatter look. But it's up to you really to play around with the different slider settings. So obviously this character is a Toon character and is flatter, so it tends to have or come out across as more distinct, I suppose, when using the Toon Shader. So yeah, going back to lighting, it's important you get a decent light in your scene. And the Toon level slider will dictate the amount of highlights versus the amount of shade you can get on your character, and the closer they are, the less divergence between the two you'll get. So it's up to you to fiddle with the look that you want. And interpolation will soften the difference between your Toon levels, between the shade and the light. But usually in cel shading you probably not want to have that on, but that's entirely up to you. Not so obvious in the case of the more realistic model. Sometimes too detailed, too many details, and it doesn't really translate particularly well in the look in iClone. which is why we also check out Unreal. In Unreal, you can do a course on how to make the different shaders to have your stylized renders. And this is something I'm eventually going to do. I've made some progress with it, but then I scrolled down and saw there was quite a lot there. But I definitely want to come back to this if I go for some more stylized renders. You do have to have 4.22 installed because it doesn't. It's not compatible with later versions of Unreal. And that's easy enough. You just choose a new engine version and select from the drop down. It's not there because I already have it installed. But yeah, that's something that you will need to do. Or alternatively, you could take advantage of this free Cel Shader to check out how Unreal handles the whole cel shading thing. And you can get different styles out of it, and you don't have to learn any tutorials just yet. So that's going to be the main focus of this video, is me messing around with this Cel Shader, because I was curious how to use it in Unreal, what kind of options there were. So I basically added it to one of my templates, and incidentally, it only supports 4.26 at the moment. Anyway, I imported this model from iClone, and I added a post-process volume, and made sure the volumes extents were unbound, so it affects the whole level, the whole scene. Then you need to add an array element, and choose an asset reference, and from there you can select the material or shader material, and it does its work. You see that border, that sort of bricky border, is it computing whatever, and then that's the result. So there are a lot of presets that you can take advantage of just from the drop down. Some of them didn't work for me. I guess if you don't see that brick pattern, it means it's not working, or sometimes it hangs, but the vast majority did. And just checking what it's like in the engine. Yeah, the animation I had, it's got a bit of a delay. But yeah, you see, compared to what iClone can do, it's a very different look. And in theory, if you customize your own shaders, you can pretty much get any look. Well, not any look, but you can tweak to your heart's content. And I'm just opening up one of the materials. Mucking around with the light. just messing about, trying to do a bit of a fill light. Just to show the features a bit more. I mean, all this customization is something that you can, you know, play with. Now, each shader you can also tweak, micro tweak the different settings, line weights, for example, and other elements. So you could, in effect, you pick up a preset that you quite like, and then you can go in and tweak it a bit more, because each preset is made out of a combination of these values. So there is a lot of creative latitude with this free plugin. I also tried adding and mixing arrays and had varying rates of success. At the moment, I think one of the arrays is not working. That's why you've got that sort of brown brick on the frame. So, okay, so there we go. Trying to see whether I can blend to. Kind of. You see, it looks pretty gross, but I'm just trying to experiment. And I did get the impression that some of the shaders were kind of on and off, that there were no degrees of blending possible. Just going through a few other of the presets. And even within the blending, you seem to be able to access different effects. Yes, in this case, that you can order the arrays, and I'm not sure whether that has an effect or not, to be honest. This is one of the ones that I think is on or off. Still rushing through the rest of the shaders, the presets. I basically just decided to pick one and shove in a bit of props and furniture. That thing in the middle is a bit of glass so we can see what the effect is through the glass. Quick tip, if you want to deselect glass and select stuff behind, just press T. And I was messing around with a fill light. I'm using a point light in this case. And sometimes I think rectangle lights are probably better for that task, but in this case, just quickly messing about. I even tried using cube matte, but that doesn't really make much difference at all to the image. Probably not surprising, since reflections and all that kind of thing are not gonna really have much impact on cel shading. I was kind of going for a hybrid real Cel Shader look just to see what would happen. Yeah, I've got to work on my physics, hair physics in iClone. This is looking a bit like a mop. I was just sorting out the shaders here, just trying to fix up some stuff. I think I was trying to make the eyes a bit brighter. I have done a tutorial on how to fix iClone shaders in Unreal, and I'll put a link on the top right. And just make the eyes pop a little bit more. This glare brightness. Just copy those settings over to the other eye, and now it's just tweaking the skin on the head. There are a bunch of different things you can fiddle with here, but I think with the Cel Shader, you're not going to get a huge amount of variation. But you can achieve some interesting results playing around in the base color section here. That's one of the interesting things about CC3 is that once your model does go in, the auto setup shaders still allow you to tweak a bit, so you can bump up your skin color and things like that if your look requires it. So now I'm just messing around a bit with lighting. And I believe I put in a rectangle light, and I was trying to get a reflection in her eyes. And that is kind of a quick overview of that free Cel Shader available in Unreal. Now I should say that same developer also does an advanced Cel Shader, which is about 80 US at the moment, and that gives you more control over the character shading and the background shading, I believe, and it looks pretty good. It's on my wish list. I'm waiting for a sale. So this is one of their example videos. Obviously it's a very, very cartoony type of image, but when you see how it reacts to light, it's pretty impressive. Now I should say I am in no way affiliated to this developer. I just quite like the look of this plugin, and I'll definitely pick it up at some stage. But I'll leave a link below. If you do have experience with other plugins, please let me know, because I'd like to check them out too. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. You've been watching Mr. H Makes, and I'll see you in the next one.